Welcome to Learn Instrumentation Engineering YouTube channel. We are discussing about the ICS panels as a series of videos. So in this series, we would be discussing about the system cabinet panel in the ICS rack rooms. So already we have discussed on power distribution panels, marshalling panels and other panels which is located inside ICS rack room. So today we will be discussing about a DCS system cabinet panel. So stay tuned to get more knowledge on this. In this YouTube channel Learn Instrumentation Engineering, we would discuss about basic fundamentals and concepts of instrumentation engineering and control systems. We would also cover the latest technological updates which is happening in and around globally on instrumentation engineering, and we would discuss on latest oil and gas news and updates as well. So if you are an instrumentation student or an instrumentation engineer or even an expertise in the field of instrumentation, do subscribe to our channel, and I am pretty sure I add more values to your knowledge. So let's get into this video. So this is the general arrangement of a DCS, distributed control system cabinet. So you can see over here we have different sections from top to bottom. So we would detailedly discuss on each sections. In section 1 we have the field control station, which we can refer to as a node 1. So each and every section would be referred to as node unit. So totally we have node 1, node 2, node 3 and node 4, and the remaining nodes would be installed in the rear side of this system cabinet panels. In the bottom of the system cabinet panels, you could see there are two power supply distribution boards, left and right, for redundant purpose. So this would be carrying 230 volt AC, and this would supply to the left and right power distribution boards for all these nodes. So this is basically the general arrangement of a system cabinet. So let's go by node wise. In the node 1 we have the field control stations. So basically the field control station is nothing but it has both node units, IOM modules and field control unit. So the field control station has different modules. So let's see from right to left. In the extreme right we have two power supply units, left and right, power supply unit left and power supply unit right, and we have CPU left and CPU right, and we have bus interface modules or node interface unit, again we have left and right. So we have a redundant system over here. So if one power supply fails, or if one CPU fails, or if one bus interface module fails, we have redundant standby modules so that it ensures the control system is in active and functioning. So apart from these field control units, we have input output modules, and we have around 8 slots in the node interfacing unit. So we would be having analog input cords, digital input cords, analog output cords, digital output cords, and even communication cords as well. So let's get into one by one. First you could see the power supply unit. So we have two power supply unit left and right for redundant purpose. So basically this power supply unit receives power supply from main distribution unit, and it converts this main AC voltage into isolated DC voltage and supply to the input output cords. So this is the main function of the power supply unit. And this power supply unit is having a battery, and this battery would be referred to as backup batteries, because if there is any power supply disturbance or power supply failure in the power supply unit module, the battery would give power source so that the program memory would not be erased. Backup time would be varying from 48 hours to 72 hours and even more as per the OEM and the capacity of those batteries. If the time exceeded and the battery got died, then we would be proceeding for a cold startup of this system cabinets, and that would require to give an offline download to the DCS. That is why we have these batteries. And next we have CPUs. Again, we have left and right CPUs. So all the program memory would be stored in this central processing unit. The CPU does all algorithms, which includes control computations and other functions like PID, ratio, split, calculations, etc. And then we have node interfacing units. So this node interfacing unit would be acting like a bridge between the IOM modules and the CPU. So it basically sends and receives analog and digital signals from IOM modules to CPU for the processing of those IOs. And then we have IOM modules from 1 to 8 slots. Already we have indicated that these IOM modules would be available in different slots. So we would be having analog input, analog output, digital input, digital output, and communication modules in these IOM modules. So basically in other nodes, like in node 1 we have a CPU, and from node 2, node 3 and node 4 we will not be having any CPU. We will be just having the power supply modules, node interfacing units, and the IOM cards. So this is how the general arrangement of an system cabinet looks, and this is how the power supply cord, CPU cord, node interfacing cord, and IOM modules are segregated and arranged. So this is basically the system cabinet panel. So if this video was very useful to you, just hit the like button and share to instrumentation community. And if you want to watch such instrumentation videos, do subscribe to our channel Learn Instrumentation Engineering. Thank you.